I have people that I work with where they come to me and they say, on average, I typically have 20 conversations a week. Okay. This is a very regular thing when they come to me and say, I'm struggling in my business. I can't make more than $100,000 and I don't know what's going on. And then I have people on the other end of the spectrum who are where we work with them at a high level. They're already prospecting at a high level. They're prospecting, making 300, 400, 500 dials a day. They're generating one lead a day, and they are stuck making 2, 3, 4, 500,000 bucks a year. Now, what's interesting is that already, just what I just shared with you, which isn't a lot of information, but just the fact of somebody saying, hey, I'm prospecting and I'm having something like 20-ish conversations a week, 4 or 5 maybe conversations a day, that person on average makes around 100,000 bucks. And then because you'll close on maybe 1 or 2 deals a year. But then the person who prospects and has 20 or 30 conversations a day is making 400 or 500 grand a year, right? 3, 4, 500 grand a year. So what happens is that the person who's making 3 or 4 or 500 grand a year fixed the bottleneck of prospecting. They're making the amount of calls they need to make, which turns into the amount of conversations, which turns into lead flow, and then turns into more business. But then what happens is, like, both of these different people have different bottlenecks. So if you're in camp A, which means let's say you're only making 50 dials a day and you're hand dialing, right? Or 100 dials a day hand dialing, and you're only maybe speaking to 3 or 4 or 5 people per day, and you maybe generate 1 lead a week, okay, or 2 leads a week maybe. If you're in this camp, I would highly recommend getting a dialer, something like mojosells.com, Call Tools, RedX, Vulcan. I don't care what you use. You're just going to upload a lead list of commercial properties into your dialer, utilize it. It's going to make your life so much easier. That's one. 2, if you don't have the right scripts to use, it's in the vault. Okay, so if you're wondering what exact scripts I use to prospect when making my commercial real estate cold calls, it's in the vault. All you have to do is download it and literally just say exactly what the script says. It has every single possible opening line you'll need. It has everything you'll need. All you got to do is read it. I promise you, it's just that simple. 3, keep in mind, everyone always goes, how many calls should I be making? The goal here is to make enough calls in order to sell, to generate enough leads so that you sell enough property to make the amount of money you want to make. So what I recommend is typically 1 to 2, like 1 minimum a day, okay? But I like to say 2 seller leads a day and 1 offer per day keeps your financial worries away. When you're doing that, what does that look like? Well, that's prospecting for possibly 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 hours a day until you generate 2 seller leads, and then spending the entire rest of your day focused on buyer business, which we don't talk too much about in this community, right? But in other programs, we talk about exactly how to marry the deals together, how to make sure you can close more deals, how do you go from making 100,000 to 3 or 4 or 500,000, or if you're already making 3, 4 or 5, how do you go from 3, 4 or 5 to several million a year? It's important to realize here, like, what camp are you in, right? Are you in the struggle, the prospecting struggle end of the spectrum here, right, where you can't seem to get into a good routine or schedule, or are you on the other end of the spectrum where you're already prospecting like a beast, right? You're already making several hundred calls a day, you're already generating maybe 1 or 2 leads a day, but you're struggling to then put the deals together because you're generating a lot of leads. You have this lead flow, but you're kind of just wondering what the heck's going on, right? By the way, in the chat box down below, if you're paying attention with me now, write down what camp you feel like you're a part of. Do you feel like you're camp A, where you feel like you're just not making the amount of calls, having the right scripting techniques, and or not generating enough leads? Or camp B, where you're already making your calls, you know what to say, you know who to say to, pull your leads and everything, except and you're making halfway decent money, and you just can't put the deals together. So struggling to put deals together. Thank you, Jeff. Awesome. You're in camp B. Love. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Jeff's in camp B. Who wants to share? Are we in A, struggling to generate the opportunities, or in camp B? Matt says mostly camp B. Okay, cool. Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it and the transparency. So let's talk about it. Now, how to solve the problem. I'm going to start with A, and then we'll dive into B, okay? So if you're in A, when it comes to figuring out how to start generating more opportunities, number 1 is all about your schedule. Okay, I would completely block off everything on your schedule. Never book another appointment before 12 noon, an absolute minimum. Before 12 noon, you just don't do anything else other than prospect. Everyone always makes wonders why this business. They feel like they're not making a lot of money. But what I find incredibly funny is that a lot of people spend way too much time doing activities that actually don't lead to any business, right? So it's like, if we know that lead generation makes us $1,000 an hour, will help us sell more properties. If we know all this to be true, then why are we not spending more time on lead generation? So I would just say, number 1, it's all about your schedule and time blocking. So make sure you just block off 100% of your day until 12 noon, okay? Nothing happens before 12 noon other than on the phone, outbound prospecting for new seller lead business. Then, and only then, can you focus on other things. Number two, make sure you download my script book and practice your script book with people in this community. Reach out to other people. Hey, who want, just all you gotta do is type in the group chat. Hey, is anybody else in the community want to role play with me? I want to practice my scripts, practice my objections. The better you can get practice, the better you're gonna do. Number three, what's important is realize you're on a multi-year journey. If you want to be successful, you got to just be consistent, right? So if you do those first three things, I promise you that will put you in a much better position, right? Because it's just about getting on the, a consistent path and making your dials every single day, practicing your scripts, so that way you can get into Camp B, which we'll talk about now, which is you creating opportunities, right? You're generating at least one or two opportunities every single day, and you just don't know how to put the deals together. So what's interesting is these are things that I talk about in obviously my much higher level communities, which I'm going to break down for you very quickly because I want to make sure I give you guys some value. Very important aspects here, okay? Which is if you're struggling, right? Which means you're struggling to put deals together. That means you've had opportunities. You create lots of opportunities. I'm going to give you the quick 1, 2, 3, okay? Number one, you must be focused on buyer capacity, okay? It's a term I coined. Buyer capacity relates to the total purchasing power of your VIP buyers list. So let me explain what that means. First, we're going to talk about what a VIP buyers list is. VIP buyers lists, okay, a VIP buyer is somebody who you have vetted, someone that you know has the money, someone you know who buys at least 2 properties per year, someone who you know is actively buying and has bought in the last 12 months already and looking for more assets. If you're wondering, are there a lot of people like this out there? The answer is yes. There's a lot of people out there. A ton of the, if we look at percentage-wise, it's got to be more than 50% of the people who buy properties are not first-time investors. First-time investors make up way less than 50%, especially in markets like this. Most of them are seasoned investors. That all being said, your VIP is, again, somebody you vetted. They have the money. They've bought properties in the last 12 months, and they buy at least 2 properties per year. That is a VIP buyer to me. You know what a VIP also means to me? Is that I can, if I find a good deal in the criteria box, the buy box, right? If what these people are looking for, I'm going to make money. So when I pull a prospecting list, I'm going to prospect for them. I don't just prospect to prospect anymore, right? I choose a VIP buyer and I say, hey, I'm going to prospect for that person. This way, when I generate an opportunity, I can go right to Bob the buyer and bring him a steaming hot deal on a silver platter. And what buyer capacity relates to is the following. Now that you have a couple buyers on this list, let's say you have 2 or you have 20 or whatever it is, buyer capacity relates to how much purchasing power these individuals have and how much you actually will be able to take advantage of this year. Let's say you have 5 buyers, okay? You have 5 buyers on a list. Each of those buyers typically buys something like $5 million a year worth of properties, okay? That might be let's say on average 2 properties a year, $2.5 million each. What that means is that you now have 5 people, $5 million each, $25 million worth of possible deals that they will buy. But here's the important factor. You're not going to get 100% of their deals. Are you? Right? We're not. Like I don't get 100% of my buyers' deals that they look to buy. I'm one of several brokers they work with. Totally fine. Of course, they're going to work with multiple people. As an investor, I want to work with as many real estate agents as possible. I want to work with all of you. If you're finding great opportunities in the market, I want to work with all of you. Here's the thing, though. Let's just say that I personally buy $20 million worth of real estate a year with my partners. If I buy $20 million worth of real estate and one of you guys brings me an amazing $20 million deal, I'm probably not going to buy more deals. So now my capacity is gone. So just because I have $20 million worth of buyer capacity doesn't mean you're going to capture 100% of my $20 million. Somebody else brings me a deal for $5 million. I still have $15 million. Maybe you'll be one of the lucky people who can bring me a deal and we do some business together. So it's the same exact thing when you have 5 buyers, all willing to buy $5 million worth of real estate every year. You might only be able to capture 10, 20%, or 25% maybe at most of their buyer capacity. So if their buyer capacity in this example is $25 million, 5 people who buy $5 million each worth of property per year, what this means is if we do a 20% rule, that means on your buyer capacity right now is $5 million. So that means you have a very high likelihood of doing $5 million worth of business this year if you can convert and find opportunity. So what does this mean? What does all this mumbo jumbo mean about buyer capacity? Well, what's actually really cool is that if you take some time while you're prospecting for seller opportunities and you flip the script when they say, hey, Henry, I don't want to sell. Thank you for the phone call. I'm not interested in selling. And you say, I completely respect that. Funny enough, though, I actually do come across a lot of opportunities that don't make sense for us. So I'm just curious. would you be totally against buying another property similar to the one you have here at 123 Main Street? Right? So I flip it to a buyer script. And by the way, I want to be honest with you. If you guys call up somebody and it's like Blackstone, if you call up somebody like, big time investors and they have 42 properties, stop making the mistake of trying to pitch them the idea of selling. Go, like they have 42 properties. They bought 7 properties in the last 12 months. These real estate agents are so funny to me. It's like, why on planet Earth would I try to pitch this guy a listing when in reality, he probably knows 75 different brokers because he's bought 42. He owns 42. He's probably owned hundreds in his lifetime. I'm not going to pitch him a listing. That's really freaking stupid. Or pitch him, even trying to sell him that deal. I'm going to just try to bring him, I'm going to add him to my VIP buyers list. I'm immediately going to pivot the script. I might not even offer the thought of possibly buying his property. I'm not even going to go that route. I'm immediately going to go to a buyer because what that should allow me to do is that have a higher likelihood of converting him as a buyer opportunity. Hey, John, I see that you have a property here at 123 Main Street. I just wanted to give you a quick call today because I come across a lot of amazing opportunities similar to the one that you have here. I see you have a 45,000 square foot industrial building, and I was just curious if I came across some industrial properties in the local market. I see you own a bunch of industrial properties. Just curious if you'd be totally against buying more property. No, I'm always looking for more property. Okay, fantastic. Look, I'm a local broker in the market. I'm also a smaller time investor. Obviously, I know you're a big time player. I'd love to try to possibly find you some off market opportunities. Everything I find is off market. I'll never bring you something that I am not direct to seller on or is listed for sale. So if you're open, if you have a few minutes, I'd love to at least chat with you and get a little bit clearer of an idea of what you're looking for. So what you're doing is that you are slowly, while you're prospecting for sellers when the opportunity arises, you pivot to a buyer, try to build your VIP buyers list, which will build your buyer capacity. Because if over time you are eventually just saying right now you have 5, even if you have 2, right? And your buyer capacity is $1 million right now, which obviously is not going to get you anywhere. Our buyer capacity right now is over $1 billion. Okay. And like I told you, that's a percentage of what our total buyer pools are looking for. So what this allows us to do is have a much higher likelihood of selling more real estate. Because when we have people who are looking for so much product and they are very active in their markets, all you have to do is find them deals that meet their criteria and they're more likely than not to buy it. Don't make it complicated, right? The reason why is that was one, right? Buyer capacity. And then number 2 is recognizing the reason why you're not doing more business. Okay, let's talk about it. 1, are you lacking in buyer? Because number 2 is like recognizing the bottleneck. I'm gonna explain. So one thing you could have here is the lack of buyers, lack of VIP buyers. Totally fine. You should be prospecting for them. Do a reverse search of everybody who's bought a property in the last 12 months. Number next is gonna be specifically looking at your deals and saying, hey, is it the deals that are a problem or am I bringing them to the wrong buyers? Because there's only 2 options. Either your deals suck or your investors suck. And that's it. It's not complicated. If you're wondering why you're not selling your deal, the deal's either overpriced or not worth what you think it's worth, or you're bringing it to investors in that, sorry, not even in that local market, but you're bringing it to investors who that's not their buy box. That's it. Figure out which one it is. So if you actually believe this is a very lucrative opportunity and you're struggling to sell it, then you need to be asking yourself, what end of the spectrum am I screwing up here at? Am I screwing up because I'm not sure how to underwrite properties, which is another thing that we specialize in teaching our higher level coaching clients, right? We teach them how to underwrite, evaluate deals following our 4-lens strategy, whether it's listing, off-market, brokering, wholesaling, or something you should invest yourself in. Right? When you follow our strategies, knowing whether it's a good deal or not, you will know if it's A, right? Most of the time we'll be able to cross it off. No, it's a good deal. I know it's a good deal because I know how to underwrite properties. Or is it B? Is it B? Where the investors I'm bringing this opportunity to actually aren't the right investors for me to try to sell this deal to. It's like sometimes that's not this obvious all the times, but sometimes when I review people's businesses, because we do in-depth deep dives in our coaching clients' businesses. And what we'll do is we'll find out what they're actually doing is they're bringing a multifamily property to a retail investor, or they're bringing a retail deal to an industrial guy, or they're bringing an industrial deal to a liquor store buyer. And they're like, oh, well, this is just an active buyer in my business. And he says he wants me to send him everything. No one buys everything. No one buys everything. Even Blackstone doesn't buy everything. Let's be honest. They don't buy everything. There's properties that they probably wouldn't want to buy. Maybe it's too small for Blackstone, right? That's specifically one of the big things. I'm not saying the asset classes because I'm sure they would buy I'm sure they buy a vast majority of asset classes, but there is a too small. So even Blackstone doesn't buy freaking everything. It's understanding what aspect of the business are you missing? What challenge, what obstacle, what bottleneck are you experiencing specifically in your business? Okay, we talked about buyer capacity. Number two is recognizing the mistake you're making, right? Is it the deal or is it the investor? And number three, most importantly, the art of pitching a deal. The art of pitching a deal, which I don't have time to go into. That's not this type of program. But what I will tell you is this. When we're talking about the art of pitching a deal, it's very crucial. We're going to talk about a couple key metrics here. One, how are you pitching the deal and how many deals are you pitching every day? Let me explain. Every day, on average, my guys are trying to get one true offer written a day, which means they have to call enough buyers from our lists of VIPs to call them up, or sometimes even cold call them, okay, off the VIP list. I'm saying not on our VIP list, right? So they have VIP buyers, and sometimes they have to cold call as well, very common. How many times are they pitching a deal, right, until they can get a true offer? And sometimes it takes them 5 freaking hours. But every day we try to get at least 2 seller leads a day, 1 true offer a day. And a true offer is obviously from a legitimate buyer in the marketplace who's looking to move some money right away, not just a starter offer, which is an offer that I make on every single deal, right? So, or you would make on every deal. It's a true offer, right? So we track all of those metrics. So it's like, okay, how many deals are you actually pitching per day? How many conversations are you having around the pitch? A lot of you guys are saying you're struggling to sell deals, but you only have maybe 1 conversation a day, if that. And if you're having more conversations, let's go to step 2, right? Let's say you're having a conversation. Say you're calling 4, 5, 8, 6, 8, let's say you're having 10, 15, 20 conversations, right? All about trying to sell your deal. Hey, I got this property, 123 Main Street. John, just curious. I see that you bought a few properties in the last 12 months in XYZ town. This property is also in the same town, similar property you have here at XYZ Main Street. Just curious. Do you have 2 minutes to discuss possible an amazing off-market opportunity? You do this call and you pitch deals. And even if this is somebody that you recognize from the past, maybe you have a previous relationship, you call them up and you try to have this type of conversation. And let's say in this conversation, you pitch the deal. A lot of you. So I'm even talking to the people who are already making the conversation, all right, having the conversations. A lot of you make a couple key mistakes, which is 1, you don't get them to write something up. You don't get something to write them up. They don't write anything up. Here, how many, put a 1 in the chat if you've called a buyer, okay, you pitch them the deal, and they give you every excuse in the book as to why the deal won't make any sense, but they still want to buy more deals. This happens to me all the time, right? You have an investor who you try to pitch deals to, and they're like, hey, I want you to send me multifamily. You send them a multifamily, and they just won't give you an offer. You send them a deal, they just don't make you an offer. This is what I'm talking about, is the art of the deal. You must learn the art of the deal. Again, we talk about this all the time in the coaching programs. Understanding the art of the deal, because it's so freaking important to understand how to get a buyer. I've had even some of my salespeople struggle with this, which we work with them tirelessly, how to practice and routinely use the script, where it's like when you're working with somebody, how to ensure that you get them to write you an offer at some price period, because that's the whole purpose of pitching out a deal, right? You need them to write up an offer, because we can't make any money unless there's some type of offer being made. So a lot of you are falling into the bucket of where you're making, you've got the opportunities, you got some good buyers, but you're calling up your buyers and you're pitching them these deals. I'm actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this live. Okay, sorry, I wasn't gonna do this live, but I'm gonna do it live. I'm gonna talk to you real quick about this deal. You're gonna hear me pitch a deal live, or try to get an offer live.
What's up, dude?
What's up, buddy? How we doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Amazing. Listen, man, I finally got this guy on the phone. He's ready to go.
Which guy?
This is the Edison deal.
47 Langstaff.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you spoke to him directly?
I spoke to him directly, correct.
And what's the story?
Okay, so I texted you some details, but anyways, it's a 40 and change 1,000-foot deal. The guy is ready to transact. The guy is occupying 17,000 feet of it. 24,000 square feet of it is vacant. He's going to lease back his space at $14 a foot gross, or probably, I guess, like single net. He's going to pay his utilities plus insurance. He doesn't even want to be there longer than he needs to be, but he's going to sell his business. We can get him to sign.
But he's ready to sell the building first, you're saying?
He's ready to sell the building first, correct. He's ready to transact.
Hold on, stay on one second. Let me just look at this with you.
Bring it up. Let's look at it.
Okay. So owner occupy, he's going to sign a deal at $17,000 for a year.
About something around a year, maybe longer if it takes him longer to sell it.
Let's call it 1 year with a 1-year option.
Sure.
At $14 gross. It sounds like he's not signing a triple net deal.
He is not signing a triple net deal. Correct. He will not pay a portion of taxes.
He's very adamant about that.
Yes, I reiterated it several times.
So it's like double net, basically.
Correct. Maybe even single net, but go ahead.
No taxes. Okay.
Okay. The rest of it's vacant.
So it's really not $14 rent, but okay, whatever.
I agree with you.
So the 24K is vacant.
Correct.
Got it.
I already asked for a survey and a floor plan if he has it.
Okay. So then what do you think it's deliverable at?
10 million.
Which is what, a foot?
Just under 250.
Oh, shit.
Between you and I might be able to squeeze him to 9750.
Mm-hmm.
That gets everyone taken care of. We'd also, if we want to go lean, we can go lean. What do you think? What do you think your price per foot's here?
Probably lower 200s, but let's see. I mean, it depends. What are the clear heights? Do you remember?
I can get that. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
I can just look on CoStar. Curious.
We're probably gonna do like 235 a foot on this. Yeah, 235 a foot. We got a deal done. This guy's ready to transact. He's talking to two other guys. He likes us. He wants to do business with us.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When you're again delivered vacant. S is
235. Do you think 235 is a range we can get to?
Yeah, let me see. This guy has a good pulse. Let me see. I asked one second. 47. It's not a delicious building, but it's not disgusting. It's kind of like,
well, it's
Edison, obviously, so that goes with that saying. There's positive there.
For sure. I mean, it's not too far
The
from the
sleep
basic
is
industrial.
funky, and the access is funky. Let me just pull it up here. It's like,
Well, no, it's like a straight box.
no, it's a straight rectangle.
Yeah.
843-139. That's not a box. 843.
Don't make fun of my rectangle.
I will not make fun of your rectangle. Good rectangle. 843-139.
This guy's ready to sign a letter of intent this week at 235 a foot.
What are there over there? Edison Township, 911 Memorial, Edison Splash Pad. It's just so not a residential area. I'm afraid I'm gonna get a lot of pushback on that. It's so not an industrial area. I'm gonna get a bunch of pushback on that. But
Well, I mean, literally, I could walk to the Amazon Center down the street. What do you mean?
where do you see? Oh yeah, across the.
No, it's not across. It's literally just if you just take Lincoln all the way down. I don't know. I could walk there.
What are you talking about? Taking Lincoln all the way down? I see Langstaff, Municipal, Wallace.
No. Zoom out a little bit, bro.
I am.
Municipal Boulevard, Lincoln Highway.
Oh, that way. Yeah, you're right. I see.
I'm just saying it's walking distance from the Amazon Center. You know what I mean? It's walking distance to the FedEx building.
Yeah,
So
250 a foot, 47 Langstaff. Okay, all right. You feel good about deliverability here?
100%. This guy will sign a letter of intent if I get it to him today.
What's pushing him?
He wants it sold. It's completely vacant. This guy's just holding a building and running his business out of a third of it and doesn't, you know what I mean? It's just like guy's ready to go.
It's on 4.5 acres. It's interesting.
100%. Huge. I think this is a good opportunity. 235 a foot. Someone's going to really like this building. You're going to be able to lease up half of it right away.
20 clear.
Do you think, can we, when does Passover start?
Next week.
Next week. Okay. I'm just going to say, because I obviously want to try to get this, if we're going to move this, I want to try to get it locked up before Passover.
Yeah, I think it's doable. Again, if you tell me you think it's deliverable,
It is
I'm thinking
100% deliverable. I need a letter of intent, a true one. Because look, I gave this guy an offer right now, and I gave him an offer at 8.5, and I talked to him at 9. But he's like, look, it's 9750, or we don't have anything. Which originally he wanted 12. Then I got him down to 11. Then 10.5. Now he's at 9750.
I'm trying to say, let's say rents here are
14 a foot, triple net.
Let's just say it's like 650s.
Maybe more. 16 a foot, triple net. Once you clean it up, probably. What's the likelihood we can get into this range?
Not sure. Let me see.
Not sure. That doesn't make me feel confident in this.
No, I'm at 50-50. Not a no. I feel good. I would tell you no if it was no.
Should I be putting this in front of other people yet, or?
No. Let me work for a minute. Yesterday I asked one person and it was a no.
Even what'd you put it at? 250?
Yeah, no, like 230.
Well, look, that's fine. So then let's try to get something in the next day or two, if you can.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel we should. I'll get an offer.
Okay. 235. He signs. Anything below that, I can't guarantee it. Between you and I'll go thin with you if you want. But this guy, I've already put nine and change in front of him, and he's not going to take it and get us paid. You know. When should I touch base with you?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, I'll ring you tomorrow. Let's try to get something ready.
I'll have answers by tomorrow. Don't worry.
Sounds good, buddy. Thank you. All right, guys. I got about 30 seconds. Anyways, listen, he's a good friend of mine. He runs a couple family offices, like manages money for people. So he's just kind of trying to run it and put it in front of a couple of partners. This is what I'm talking about. Buyer capacity. One guy, hundreds of millions of dollars. We could do $100 million a year together based off of a 20% rate. That's, having more people like him. He's not, sadly didn't be able to give me an answer today. It's okay. I'm not saying he won't have, he needs to digest it, put it in front of some of the partners and, give me some type of answer. Not going to be a perfect situation where they just give you an answer every single time like this. But the intention is like, I want to keep pushing for that offer no matter what. Tomorrow, I'm going to get an offer no matter what. I'll get it in writing. You guys will all hear about it. So anyways,